October 22nd, 2019 marks the first day of the 74th season of the National Basketball Association. We're pumped, and we know that you are too. So what better way to get ready for this monster season ahead than doing a full season preview? We're here to talk storylines going into the next season, like who is the real king of LA? We're going to talk awards, like who's the next MVP, and we're going to make full season predictions, like who gets into the playoffs and who's going to win the next ring. Let's dive in. Let's do it.
This is the Upshot Podcast. We're about to break down the biggest moments in the NBA.
Long three! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining!
And why they matter now. This is the Upshot Podcast.
Ben Atkins here with you with the Upshot Podcast, and today I'm joined by Nick Atkins, Marshall Robertson, and Joe Baltz.
Hey-o.
And woo, this is season preview.
Yes, it's here. It's here.
I'm excited. God, season preview.
I feel like basketball just ended like 2 days ago, and it has sucked without it.
It's been tough. It's been tough. I think if you're like us, you've been in sort of a mode where you are excited about the season that's coming up. You're excited about what's about to happen. And today we're going to talk about all the big storylines, all the things that are happening, all the things that you need to know to be ready for the season and to get as hyped as we are about it. And I'm sure if you're listening right now, you're as hyped as we are anyway. But get ready to take it up a notch because this is what is going to be happening. So we've got several categories of things that we're going to be covering on this particular version of the pod. And we want to know, of course, if you're listening, what are you excited about? So make sure you let us know. But let's dive in. Let's get into it. So the first category that I want to get into, and no waste of time because we have so much to talk about on this one, is old faces and new places. This one is absolutely huge. There was an off season and a free agency like we have never seen.
It was
before.
nuts. Yeah. Literally, I don't think we've ever seen it before.
No,
the biggest, craziest one ever.
Nothing like what we've seen before. So let's get into folks that we love. We've loved these people for years, or we haven't loved them, but they've changed spots, and it's dynamically affected the league, and it's going to be really interesting this year. So who do you guys got around the horn that has changed places? What are you excited about?
Number one's easy, Kawhi and Paul George.
God, it's going to be so good.
And I feel so silly about it because I didn't see it coming. I mean, I felt like it was just surprise after surprise after surprise. I really didn't think Kawhi was going to stay in Toronto. I thought there was a chance he may be going to the Lakers. And then you find out kind of all in one, he's going to the Clippers, and Paul George is coming too, which nobody was talking about Paul George.
No.
That happened to be a trade.
The two best two-way players in the
Absolutely.
league?
Right,
I think so.
right. Paul George. Now, Paul George is... He may be the $6 million man, but I mean, the guy has been operated on so many times, and I'm not sure if he has a good shoulder. He's got titanium in his leg, but the first at least 3 quarters of last season, he's in the MVP race,
he was
and I think he's leading at some portions of it. So he's still got it.
Yeah,
and I think he's with a guy who's going to be able to explain to him, "Hey, man, you can take a night off every now and then, right? We can rely on some other folks." So
hey,
I'm more excited about that team.
Yeah, the X factor there is that they chose to play together. I think that whenever you see these stars come together and you have Leonard go into the organization and say, I want him, you get him, I'm coming. I think even Paul George pulls into that, and I think that's maybe the most fierce part of that team is that the two superstars want to be there and want to play together.
Well, speaking of stars that want to play together, let's look what's going on in Brooklyn. So obviously we're not going to see it this year because KD is hurt. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
I love the Nets.
Listen,
man.
I really
so
like
excited.
Jay-Z. Jay-Z, if you're listening, love you, buddy. So I think obviously we're going to miss KD this year, but still Brooklyn's going to be in the conversation. They made it to the playoffs last year. So you trade out D'Angelo, you get Kyrie.
They're going to be a playoff team this year.
I think so too.
The East
Well, they're playing
it's weak enough.
They're playing JV basketball in the East.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Kyrie
they've got some
and
pieces.
LeVert.
LeVert, Spencer is solid. Like I think they've got some pieces there. So they're gonna survive this year, but then when they get KD back next year, it's gonna be even better.
So let me just throw this out here. KD is out for how long? How long have we estimated? A full year.
He should be coming back.
So here's what I want to throw out there. Let's say that the Nets extend into the postseason somehow.
Yeah.
And we're up against some Titans that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Sure.
Or maybe. But what are the odds that maybe we see him?
I think
You think no?
I'm going to say no way.
You're saying no? I think we could.
I'm going to say no way. Joseph Tsai, new owner.
What's the storyline of him getting hurt? I mean, it's because he pushed it in the playoffs,
exactly.
right? I
Why
mean,
would you ever take that
it
chance?
would literally be swallowing the same thing.
People are going to show up in Brooklyn just to see Kyrie. I wouldn't show up for it. I'm not a big fan, but they're going to have a good team. They're the best team in New York. It's a great market. They've got a new owner who really cares. They're going to pour money into the franchise, and more money is going to go into it. I think this year the ceiling's good. Kyrie's probably going to find some ailment in the playoffs, so they'll lose him. They'll lose probably in the first or second round, and then next year we're back full force.
Nick, you're a contract guy. What's his contract? What do you know?
Kyrie's contract?
You know KD's contract?
It was a max, right?
Okay, I was trying to think of because I think there's a narrative out there like, is there a chance that we never see KD play in a Brooklyn jersey?
There's definitely folks.
I think there's a narrative
that.
there.
Yeah.
So I mean.
He lives in New York for a year.
Postseason comes along.
He's a celebrity in New York for a year without ever having to play. And people are talking about this, that he may get a better opportunity and something may happen, which crazy, but people are talking about it.
Yeah. His loyalty's been tested before.
I'm going to get into the next, new old face and new place. AD joins LeBron.
Of course you're going to talk about this one.
I'm a Lakers guy. Before I get into this, because I want to hear your thoughts on AD, but I feel like this is it. This is the final push for LeBron James.
Sure.
And I feel like what I always love about LeBron, whether you love LeBron or hate LeBron, he's very conscious of legacy. And I feel like he understands very much where he sits right now, the good things that he's done. And, he's always going to be in the conversation of best player ever. But this is where he could put the exclamation mark on it. And he's set up the pieces. And it's AD. He's putting a lot into this. So, as a Lakers fan, I get excited, but I also see the potential for an explosion here. Yeah. So what do you guys think with AD?
A few thoughts with AD and the Lakers in general. First, the rest of the team is not that great. I know we probably have some Kuzma believers in the room. I'm not all that high on Kuzma, and also Kuzma and AD technically play the same spot. And AD has said, "I'm not playing center." He's going to end up playing center. They'll probably just tell him, no, you're a 4. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But AD's injury prone. Okay, we haven't had that problem in a while, but he is injury prone. LeBron is older, is injury prone. It's really going to be I'll just call it now. They're not going to win the West. I feel very strongly saying that the Lakers are not going to win the West. I think LeBron's going to play 60 games. AD will play 65 to 70 games. How are they going to build and continue to build going forward? I think Andre Iguodala and Memphis would be a great fit for them. The problem is,
seriously, if you guys could call, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great because we'd love to dip out of that.
Yeah.
But the problem with, look, he'd be great on the Clippers or the Lakers, and both of them would want him. They gave up everything they had. They've got nothing to give, and they also don't have the cap space for it because they've paid 2 players so much money.
However, what if there's a role in Space Jam for Andre Iguodala? Could we possibly get him in?
So that
changes everything.
The Grizz probably buy him out, and then he gets a co-billing role in Space Jam.
We pay him $1 million to play in LA.
Iggy can act.
And then we put him in Space Jam for $8 million. I don't know, something crazy.
I like it.
I think it's a pot. We've seen this move already. I think
the Lakers are built for the playoffs. So it's just what are they gonna? How broke down will they be when they get there? And I don't mean
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like if they could somehow get in between a 4 and 6 seed, in my opinion, I think that team is good enough to win the West.
And I
they
agree
can make it. I just don't know what they'll look like by that point.
The problem is that they are primed to add somebody at the deadline, but the money has to shake out, and that's the issue. And again, it's the same issue with the Clippers and the Lakers. They're paying AD and LeBron so much, Kawhi and PG so much, that if you're going to bring in somebody good, you're going to have to match those salaries. The rest of the team, even if you put them together, you can't match the salaries.
Spoiler alert, Bradley Beal, calling it right now. It's coming.
Nice.
He's coming to LA.
Amazing.
So moving on, a team I'm actually really excited about because I feel like this is going to be the possible train wreck or the big surprise this year, which is the Houston Rockets. We have Westbrook reuniting with Harden. And, I would love, just because I love this program, even if I don't always love the players in the program, because I love the moves that they've made over the years. And I would love to see this work out, but there's some opinions about how this should actually be structured. And, Nick, you've got a very strong opinion about how this should
and I'm not afraid to share it. I'll share it over every damn podcast we do.
Go ahead.
Look, you can't do it because of ego, okay? These guys do not need to be on the floor at the same time. It's ISO ball. They're both ISO ball players. And also, if you're playing ISO ball, you can maybe, I would take James Harden standing out on the corner whenever Russ is driving in. He's never going to do that. And if you flip it, if James is driving in, you put Russ on the corner. I don't want Russ shooting the threes anyway. They need to be running the 1, They don't need to be on the floor at the same time. They need to change the way that they run their offense and have Russ run one level and then have James run the other.
Well, and how many times are we going to cycle through the Robin to James Harden's Batman?
Exactly.
We've seen it.
But this is why it doesn't work.
Dwight Howard, Chris Paul. Now we got Russell Westbrook.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't know that he's going to find a second one because he doesn't want to share the ball.
Is James Harden the problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally
James
think that.
Harden and his offensive
He's a
philosophy
ball
is the
stopper.
problem. And that's why if you want to sit James, the problem is when James comes off the floor. But all he's doing is dribbling, and everybody else is standing out on the corner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. It didn't work for Carmelo. Carmelo didn't even stand out
You
on
don't
the
win a
corner.
championship with
exactly.
that.
That's right.
You don't get deep into the playoffs with that. And I mean, they got as deep as I thought they could have with that
That's
sort
what
of setup.
Kobe said the exact same thing whenever they asked him about his mark of what was it, streak of 30 straight
Right.
or games with 30 points or more in,
Right.
in his streak.
Right.
And Kobe just said, I think it's amazing. I think what he's doing scoring wise is awesome, but it doesn't translate to a championship
Doesn't
team.
work, man.
Yeah,
That's
like he's not going to win with the style that they're playing. He's
Right.
not doing that while making his team better. He's doing it to survive.
Yeah.
And he was giving him props for it, but he said they won't win.
No.
Team ball this year, you look at Toronto this last year.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how you win a championship.
Absolutely.
You rest your star. You put your star in the right spots. But that championship was not just won by Kawhi. You got to have that dynamic.
To be clear,
that's where.
It was one because KD got hurt, but anyway.
Well, we're going to see. I think the season's going to be run by duos. It really is. But there's a lot of individual guys who have made moves too. So you got Jimmy Butler went to Miami.
Right.
That's going to be interesting to me. Like you got Kemba Walker going to Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a really good move. You got D'Angelo Russell going to Golden State. You got Al Horford going to Philly. Like, there's a lot of individual moves. I think they're going to make a lot of sense in the league.
I love Horford to Philly.
I do too.
I really do.
I really do. You take a little pressure off Embiid.
Yeah. And I
think
really
it's gonna be really good.
I think Philly got better, and honestly, I know Boston lost Horford. I think Boston gets better too.
I think so, too.
I think they're the top two teams in
Kimba's
the
so
East.
good.
I know.
Man.
I know.
He's so good.
Boston passed the torch down to the young guys. So you got Kyrie and Horford, both great players in their own right, but they have so much young talent. It's like how are they sharing? Well, they're not going
That's right.
to. Tatum and these guys are going to step up, and I think they'll be superstars too.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to coaching changes. We had a lot of big coaching changes this last year that are going to be interesting. So let's talk about that.
I mean, obviously, for me, I'm going to start in Memphis. Big Grizzlies fan. You got Taylor Jenkins taking over for J.B. Bickerstaff, and I'm so interested because there's a lot of energy. He brings a lot of energy.
Yeah.
He's an X's and O's guy to me. Like, he knows the game. So I'm really interested to see how that translates on the court.
And if you want to start off on the right foot with your team, get your ass and coach them at Summer League.
Oh, yeah.
How great was that?
That was so cool.
I mean, look,
That
I
was
know.
so cool.
I was out at Summer League this year. I understand Summer League is a bit of a truncated. It's not all the stars are playing. It's mostly rookies, but there is a vibe out there of we're starting up. We're building our character now, and even Ja didn't play. Jaren didn't play for Memphis, but they were there.
That's
they
right.
were
and that
there.
was huge.
Everybody
Huge.
showed up.
Right, and he's building a culture already. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I don't think it's grit and grind anymore. And so whenever I know it's a great
sad.
saying, I love it.
R.I.P.
Exactly, but I think Memphis and Taylor they're going to run, they're going to play defense,
Run and gun.
they're going to play fast. And I could not be any more excited about it to be a Grizz fan.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of his. We'll see. He's like 34 years old, but he's been coaching in the G League. He was kind of a pop guy too.
That's right.
And
Which,
so.
how can you not get on board with a guy
Yeah,
that comes from the pop tree?
we'll take that lineage.
Yeah.
I love the John Beilein story, and so
You're a Michigan guy.
Over in
Of course
Cleveland.
you do.
Over in Cleveland. Okay.
Right. So he takes the Cleveland gig. I was shocked by this for a couple of reasons. I didn't see him. He's 66 years old. He's
Wow,
66
okay.
years
I
old.
didn't know he was that old.
Yeah,
Wow.
neither. Doesn't seem that way.
He's 66 years old. He has done a phenomenal job at Michigan, he honestly he doesn't get that much credit for being at the top of the coaching level because you've got Calipari. I mean,
course.
you've got Krzyzewski, but he actually brought Michigan, which is not. Look, frankly, it's not a traditional basketball powerhouse, and he has had them in the conversation at least over the last
They've had
5
a lot
to 10
of
years.
good teams, a lot of good
And
ones.
so I'm shocked to see one that. I wonder how that worked. I'm shocked to see that Cleveland hired him, but I'm shocked to see that he wanted it. You know what I mean? And I love that he's 66 years old. He's reached this kind of pinnacle with college, and it's, you know what? As far as an NBA team goes, there's no bigger rebuilding project, honestly, than going to Cleveland post LeBron. It's still Cleveland post LeBron, and it's going to be that way for a while. So,
And there's a lot of young talent there. You got Colin Sexton, you got Darius Garland.
Exactly.
Like they're going to have some. They're going to have some good teams.
to be
going
some
forward.
heavy guard play in Caleb. We'll see what happens
That's
with
right.
Caleb.
That's
but-
right.
Well, and what about Luke Walton traveling north a little bit?
That's the one I'm excited about. I think he basically.
Good for him for getting
Yeah,
out of there.
I was going to say when LeBron comes in, and this isn't to hate on LeBron, but LeBron's big enough to where he's going to pick his coach, so to speak, and he didn't pick Luke. So, he's not just gotten on a new team.
Did he pick Frank Vogel? I think he picked Jason Kidd, and Frank's just like, shit.
But his squad's solid. He's got De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley. He's got Buddy Hield, Kyle.
That's a good young team.
Yeah, I mean,
good young team.
Made up of winners.
That's right.
Yeah. Truly from the NCAA.
They were
and just
really fun to watch this year. Dave Yeager just kind of. I like Dave. I think he's a good coach, but it seems like with Sacramento, he's got them right there on the cusp, and it's Vladdy says, "So long, Dave."
So Luke Walton going to Sacramento. What do you guys think? What kind of year are they going to actually have?
Well, the problem is they're in the West. That's the thing.
Gosh,
I mean, and
so
they were right
the
on
fourth best team in California right now.
Exactly.
Seriously, that's true.
It's insane. They were right on the cusp of making the playoffs last year. I think De'Aaron Fox could be top 5 point guard in the NBA. We're going to really, I think he's going to have a big year. So look, we'll see. The problem is that the West is so top loaded that you could be the 7 to 8 seed in the West and be in a phenomenal team and probably be in the top 5 seeds in the East, just to be frank, and you could be going out first round.
Yeah.
So, we talk about Walton leaving the Lakers and going to Sacramento North, but then we have to fill his spot with Brink Vogel, which we mentioned. What is that? What sense does that make to you guys in terms of why he's there?
I was surprised by this hire. Because I think Frank Vogel's a good coach. I think he was with Indiana when that's right, when PG3 was there, and he kind of overachieved. The problem with this is this, and it's again, this is just the LeBron vortex, okay? But LeBron kind of wants Jason Kidd. And I don't know what the push-pull there with Genie and the ownership and maybe Magic. I'm not going to be here. I love that so much. I'm going to say it over and over. But I was surprised to see that it was Vogel immediately and not Kidd. And I also hate the idea of look, we know that Kidd and LeBron are boys, and you're bringing him in to be the assistant coach for Vogel. I mean, if you're Vogel, it's like, well, I'm going to do the best I can here. We'll see how this works out. It's already drama, and I hate that. It's
LA right now, and that's the interesting thing.
So
about
could
LA.
the
Is
Lakers
Jason Kidd going to be in Space Jam?
Ooh, interesting.
I bet.
Could the Lakers hire Andre Iguodala to be the coach and then let him play?
Coach?
Yeah, didn't we dream about that with Jason Kidd when he was at the Nets? Like, I'm like, hey, that's a twist you
real
can put on
quick.
it.
I follow Iggy came out with a book this year, and I actually think it's a New York Times bestseller. And I love Iggy, and I love talking about Iggy's career because Iggy has made a ton of money. He's gotten bigger contracts than you would think, and he's got rings. But he has called it wrong this summer like 3 different times. With real cryptic tweets. One of his tweets was right before he got traded to Memphis. He said something like, found out just in the nick of time, and he spelled it with Nick, so I guess he thought he was going to the Knicks. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, you're going to Memphis.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It's rough.
But he left the tweet up, so maybe he didn't feel too embarrassed about it. But look, the Iggy stuff is going to be a big storyline, I think, continuing going. Is he even going to play for Memphis? Who knows? I don't know.
So before we get out of this, Monty Williams, Phoenix, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that guy. I mean, he's loved throughout the league. Like he's one of those coaches. He's a player's coach. Everybody loves him. I think in Phoenix, it's going to be a good fit. But is anyone really going to be a good fit?
Who's a good fit in Phoenix?
I'm
going to see if I
I'm
can.
not sure.
Was beloved.
Could be a black hole.
beloved. Right.
Trying to figure out how I can bring up Iggy again in the Monty Williams conversation, and I don't think I can do that. Look, Phoenix is a bit of a disaster. I don't think they had a good draft. I really like Devin Booker as an offensive player, but beyond that, Nathan, I don't know if they're going to put it together this year. Again, they're in the West. They're probably looking at tanking again and getting top 5 pick.
And let's talk about that. In the West, that's the big conversation.
Gosh,
there's just
murderer's row, man.
Dominance in the West, and the East. It's just not as much. So we have years of Warriors dominance, just domination from the Golden State Warriors, and we've had the West. The West has reacted to this, and that's really what's actually going on in the West is everybody reacting to the Warriors and how do you beat the Warriors?
Trying to keep up.
Exactly. And it's been an arms race. And so, when we get into this, let's talk about the teams here.
Sure.
If we're thinking about the West, because I think sometimes even big basketball fans don't do the separation until it comes tournament time, right? But let's talk about the teams that we've actually have out here.
Well, and I think
that's
what makes this season so enticing. We're coming up on. There are so many contenders. There's not a far and away favorite. I mean, you got the Nuggets, you got the Clippers, you got the Lakers, you got the Jazz, you got the Warriors, you got the Rockets. Those are all West teams.
It's amazing.
Like it's gonna. I mean, those. I literally could see any one of those putting on a ring at the end of the year.
For me, it's doing the practice of, because we're Grizz fans, and so I'm going to try to tie this back into it. But looking at, I'm excited about the Grizz season. It's looking at, okay, we're in the West. We know we need to be in the top 8. Let's go through the teams real quick in the West and just top of your head If you feel sure that it's a win, say it. Dallas Mavericks, no, not sure. Denver, definitely not. Golden State, definitely not. Houston, definitely not. Clippers, Lakers, no. Minnesota, maybe. New Orleans, maybe not. Okay,
You're killing me.
Oklahoma City, maybe. Phoenix, yes. Portland Trailblazers, who nobody talks about, who went to the Western Conference Finals, still there. Sacramento, maybe. Spurs, always good. Utah could win the West. I mean, it is a juggernaut. It's a juggernaut.
If your team is playing any one of those teams,
exactly,
it's a loss probably.
And so the good thing about the West is that I think every one of these teams are going to be good. The record may not reflect that.
Yeah.
Well, the East looks much different. You know, the East, you can isolate it to very few teams.
It's top heavy. It's top heavy.
Yeah.
It's top heavy.
And so you get in with the Bucks, you get in the 76ers, you get the Celtics, and you know those teams are going to be really fun to watch. But there's not as much drama as to who's going to come away with big things this year. So
yeah, I think
what do you think about that?
You just mentioned them. Those are your three favorites, and I think those are the ones that are probably going to be standing at the end of the year.
Agreed. One of the big storylines for me, and I think this is the dominating storyline. If we were to rank storylines and the drama, the new players, everything moving, the one that takes the cake, and I love how this has been set up. And you start to think, do we have a writer sitting back in a back room somewhere writing this? But the battle for LA,
God,
we have
so good
Kawhi, who I still don't think we know how smart. What basketball IQ this guy has.
You'll never know. Yeah. He'll never tell you.
Because once again, we get into how he orchestrated, what part he had, and it's just now coming out what part he had into getting this team set up and why he moved. But the battle for LA, let's talk about this. We've got two teams in Los Angeles who are positioned to be monsters.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think about this? What do we got?
I want to start with how he got there. I think that's what's so interesting is because this was literally an opportunity where the Clippers are going to be the stepchild to the Lakers seemingly always.
Yeah.
And not only is that where their stance is, but you got AD and you got LeBron already with the Lakers. And from all I understand from Doc Rivers' mouth is that Kawhi is going to the Lakers. Like, if you don't do this, I'm signing with the Lakers. Like, that's where I'm going.
Right.
Now, whether or not that's true, I mean, who knows? But he's literally going across town, and they're about to win some rings.
Right.
So I think the fact that he not only joined them, but didn't go to not only a seemingly about to win a championship team, but the team that's in your same arena, I think is unbelievable. I mean, like they just
not
changed,
just your same city,
yeah,
your same arena.
They flipped the script completely. So I think
Staples
that's part of the early show that makes this so enticing for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a beautiful, beautiful setup. And like I said, we've got LeBron, who's very legacy conscious, really setting himself up. This was a long play for him, getting AD over there, setting that up. But you know what? I really think Kawhi, this was a long play for him. I don't think he went to Toronto thinking he's staying in Toronto.
I think he's always wanted to be in California. I mean, look, he goes to Toronto not by his own choosing.
Sure.
I mean, and so
kind of a holdover spot,
right? And that's the problem with Kawhi. If Kawhi is Kevin, it's not a problem, but I can't fault Kawhi. Kawhi got traded to a franchise he didn't want to go to, but he did play.
Right.
Okay. I know he sat out with San Antonio, but he played
well.
and he literally won the title. And so you can be a little gypped if you're a Toronto fan. He did what he wanted to do. He's from California. He wanted to get back to California, and I don't think he's ever been that shy about it.
Well, I think this is what tells the story this year. The story is who has the better supporting cast. When we get deep into the season, who has the group of guys behind them, Lakers or Clippers, that is going to help them extend. Get the win when they can't get the win. Like what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, right now looking at it, it's got to be the Clips, right? Like you've got.
What I feel like.
I mean, you've got some solid pieces there. I think that can support those two.
P-Bev, Lou.
I'm having a hard time.
It's deeper.
Naming,
They're
I'm
deeper.
having a hard time naming the other guys on the Lakers.
On the Lake Show.
I can, but they
Kuzma
don't play for the Lakers anymore. So
yeah, exactly.
they're
they all
New
got
Orleans.
traded to get AD.
Yeah.
And it's a gamble, and I think that I got to respect that gamble because I know what they're going for. But you really start to wonder deep into the season.
You get two of the top 10 best players in the league, you've always got a chance. But if we're talking about right now who's deeper, it's Clippers.
Absolutely.
Interesting storyline. Let's get into the next section of this, which is impact rookies. Got an interesting rookie class here, and the most talked about that we'll start off is Zion.
Yeah.
What kind of impact right away does Zion have, and what kind of pressure do you feel right now if you are Zion? But what kind of impact do we have this year, do you think, for real, other than ticket sales, because ticket sales are going to be through the roof?
And they're already through the roof.
Yeah. And it's amazing what this one person has done for this team in New Orleans. But what impact is Zion going to have this year on the NBA as a whole?
I would say tremendous. I mean, here's the thing. I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah,
okay, but he storyline wise and basketball wise, we've kicked this term around a few times. He's a supernova. I told when I was out at Summer League and he only played in one game.
Right.
The energy in the arena of just the people who showed up to fill out UNLV just to watch this guy come in and play one game was unbelievable. Now, what I like about what New Orleans has done, and especially what David Griffin has done, is they've actually kind of surrounded him with really good talent.
Man, he's
right?
in a good spot.
And so they've got Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's an All-NBA guy. Whether he makes it or not, he's an All-NBA guy. And then you got the guys from the Lakers who certainly have something to prove. It's a little bit of a safer environment for him. He doesn't have to carry the load.
Bring on JJ Redick.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, you got some pieces.
And that's monstrous.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's monstrous.
I think New Orleans is going to be such a fun team to watch. I got to ask you guys this question. So, if we're talking about Zion, is he? If we're looking at a scale of what we think Zion could be, I understand the hype is akin to LeBron when he came out, and that's understandable. Okay, but hype and what we think he's actually going to be as a player is different.
Yep.
From the LeBron side of the scale to, let's say, the Blake Griffin side of the scale, which side do you think he tips to, and is it a disappointment?
Blake is a really good example. To me, I see Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Like I see a guy who's going to dominate the boards, and he's going to put up points, and he's going to be a real force inside.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be transformative the way LeBron is, because he's not going to be he could have 12 assists tonight. He's not going to be that guy.
Right.
But I think he's going to dominate.
Double guy.
His
but not,
athleticism, but
maybe
I also
a little
agree.
Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also agree that I think injuries could be a deal. It really could. It's going to be scary.
Well, and Ja. We got to move on to Ja now.
Man.
Ja Morant. Like, this is a guy, I see, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I see guys that have, like Zion, of course, keys to the castle, needs to stay healthy. But, I don't see that killer instinct yet. I don't see the chip on his shoulder yet. I think things have been too great. I don't think he's been beat up enough.
Do you think that's because of big fish, little pond with him coming out of Murray State?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not talking about Ja. I'm talking about Zion.
Got it.
I'm talking about Zion.
Got it.
I get into Ja.
Ja's
chip
got
on
it.
your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
He
I see what you mean.
Because he didn't get recruited heavily.
I
Right.
feel like this guy, it's very possible, could develop the mindset of a Kobe Bryant. And I know that's taken a step, but I feel like the way that he comes into the league, he's always behind somebody.
Right.
He's in a school that nobody's paying attention to, but like, you go watch this guy play, and he's explosive.
Oh,
he's
gosh.
doing things that he should not be able to do, and he's doing them in the face of people that he should not be doing them to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, there's an interesting relationship with him and Zion, too.
Yeah.
And so I think he's coming into this season not just in a position of, I want to play basketball, I want to do good things, I want to be great, but I think he's looking at, I was number 2, and I've always been number 2 or a lot less. Let's go out and let's do some great things. And I think he's surrounded with some interesting things in Memphis. What do
I
you
agree.
guys think?
And I'm so excited to watch him play. Number one, because his athleticism just jumps off the page.
Yeah.
Like, he is so freaking good with the ball in his hands. So I'm really excited to see him paired with Triple J. I think the two of them could really turn into a high-low aspect of what the game really needs and what the Grizzlies game has needed for years. They've been grit grind. It's time to speed it up a little bit. My question is, does his game translate to the NBA? Is he going to be a facilitator?
Right.
He's got to become a facilitator, and he showed that a little bit. But he kind of had to control the ball at Murray State. He really did. He had to be the offense. But can he facilitate for Triple J and the rest of that offense? I'm excited to see it. I'm really pumped.
What I like about him is he likes to perform. He's a performer. This is MJ status. That's the thing about MJ. He's a great player, but MJ liked to put on a show. He was very conscious of the show he's putting on. You watch this guy's highlight reel. He's very and I'm not comparing him to MJ. Don't get me wrong. I don't want that to come off that way. But like, I love the showmanship of this guy's game.
He is. Yeah.
And if he can get a little backup, and I think the backup's there if they're willing to develop this in Memphis.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
They could be fun to watch.
It's a relatively safe environment too. I mean, nobody knows better than us.
Expectations are low.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Will that be a good thing or a bad thing?
By the way, they're both Jaren. Happy birthday to Jaren. Jaren turned 20 years old
the last
week.
few days.
Isn't that
yeah.
insane?
I mean, guys, they're so young, and Jaren is a fantastic NBA player right
Already
now.
Yes.
Right
out of the
now.
box.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. So we got to get into RJ too. RJ Barrett. What do you guys think about him?
I wish he wasn't playing in New York. Yeah, I hate it for him. I actually think he's immensely talented. again, we've talked about it before, but look, coming out of high school, he was a higher recruit than Zion, or they were either 1 for 1. And at least at the beginning of this season, he was projected to be the number 1 pick over Zion. Now, obviously, that changed pretty quick. I think he seems like a really well-grounded guy. He's Canadian, so another basketball reach thing. He's very familiar with Steve Nash. I guess everybody in Canada knows everybody. I don't know.
They're so friendly.
I know, but he seems like he's really got it together. I loved when he came out and said, I want to go to New York. Right. I think that's such an easy and good thing to say if you're trying to build up some goodwill in New York. Because if you're a Knicks fan,
man, they're aching.
They just get beat up all the time. And so the problem is if he comes out and he puts out a few clunkers right away, it's not like you put out a few clunkers in Memphis. Right. They're going to come after you. It's media.
I think you can learn from losing in the NBA better than maybe you can in the NFL and things like that, where you talk about players getting a little gun shy because they're getting clobbered on bad teams. But in the NBA, I mean, you're getting beat 60 a night, whatever. I mean, whatever it turns into, you're still getting better. You're still getting experience. You're learning how to play in front of the crowd. Sure. I mean, like, as long as Dolan's there, that organization won't be well run. But he's got a chance to have a career there. I mean, I think
what a weird team he's on, though.
I know
they got like 10 power forwards.
It's
so weird, but we'll see. I
like to see what his game looks like whenever he has to be the man.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of publicity right now as everyone's favorite to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
I'm reading that everywhere. Like everyone's picking him to be Rookie of the Year. I'm really excited to see it.
Talent is definitely there. So we get into someone that has really gotten an education on how the NBA works in the last little bit. DeAndre Hunter, he's just been on tour before he's ever really stepped on the court.
Yeah, he's a Hawk now. I think he knew he was going to be. He was going to be on the Hawks. The thing with Hunter is we didn't really know about him until the tourney.
Yeah.
Okay. And
he got on the map.
He seems like kind of the prototypical 3-and-D guy.
Which tourney are you talking, by the way?
The NCAA tourney. NCAA tourney.
Just everyone knows.
Played for Virginia.
Yeah, and he seems like the prototype 3-and-D guy. And what I love about it is he's on a Hawks team, which kind of similar to Memphis, is that expectations are low, but when you look at their roster,
man, they're stacked.
They really they drafted DeAndre and they drafted Cam Reddish, who we don't know a ton about Cam, but we know the ceiling is incredibly high. So I think DeAndre can get plugged in with Atlanta and get some PT right now. Now, is he going to have numbers that are going to generate what we think Zion, RJ, and Ja would generate to be like leading the pack for a Rookie of the Year? I doubt it, but I think he can come in and contribute immediately.
Talk about draft impact. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish last year, Trae Young, Justin Herter, who turned out to be like a
Kevin Herter.
Turned out to be a really good rookie. Like, I mean, this is a good young team.
Put him with John Collins. They've got a good squad.
Real quick, really Darius Garland. What do you think?
We don't know enough about him. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about Garland is people that we trust. I know Ryan Russillo talks about him a lot, and the feedback is we just didn't get to see him in college very much. He was at Vandy. He got hurt really quickly.
Right.
But he's explosive. He's a facilitator. It's an odd mix with putting him with Sexton, I think.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, are they the same player?
Yeah, they're such a guard-heavy team. But also, if you subscribe to we're gonna draft the best player, no matter who it is, we are, we're drafting the best player, which I agree with that.
Yeah.
We'll just see how it shakes out. I mean, if anybody can figure out how to make it work, it's Beeline.
Honorable mentions, who do you think has, at least rookie-wise, who do you have that that on that list so far can make a big impact
For
this
me,
season?
I'm all on board with Kobe White.
I'm with you.
Chicago. That guy can straight up ball. I know you saw him. Did you see him in
Oh,
Summer
yeah.
League?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I'm with you.
That guy was so good. There's something about his game that just translates. It
Yeah.
just makes sense in the NBA. And in Chicago, I think it's a great spot for him.
Well, they're going to have a full season of Markkanen, which I love Lauri Markkanen, and he's a really, really good stretch four. He plays almost just as fast as Ja, and so I think what you're seeing is some of these guards coming in, they realize that they can put a premium on quickness of the game, and he is so quick, and he wants to run up and down the floor. He's really and he's got a giant fro. It's really fun to watch.
He
him play.
looks good.
So
looks real good.
So he's got a chance to Chicago to really make some noise this year.
I think Cam Reddish would be higher for me if he wasn't on the team y'all just said. I think in Atlanta there's so much talent around it, and
young
it's
talent.
It's not a bad thing. He's in a great spot. It's just he's not going to have a chance to shine where he might on a
I would
different
say
squad.
maybe that's good for him, but he's coming off the
He's
Duke
used
team.
to that.
Yeah, he's coming off the Duke team with
third string
RJ
at
and
Duke.
Zion in it, and the knock on him is he just got swallowed up by this, and sometimes he would disappear. And I wonder if that's even more of a problem in Atlanta, right? I don't know. We'll see, but God knows he's got the talent. Everybody says he has the talent, so we'll see what shakes out with him.
All right, this year, ability to fly versus falling off the mountain. So this year, which teams are on the brink, take the biggest steps forward? Which ones fall off?
Yeah.
What are we thinking here with what teams go up, what teams go down this year? That aren't the big monsters.
I mean, I'll throw it out there. I've been pretty open about this. I'm really fired up for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they've been knocking on the door. You got obviously, I think Donovan Mitchell he's on the brink of becoming one of the next superstars in this league. You got Rudy Gobert, who is consistently maybe the best defensive player in the league, and then you add a personal favorite, Mike Conley, to run that point
Love
out
Mike.
there.
Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty good three, and they've got they're a deep team, if I remember right. They go like 8 or 9 deep, and they're very strong defensively. They play the right way. I think that team's going to go far this league.
What is Mike Conley going to be able to do with some weapons? It's interesting.
Man, I mean, I mean, he's such a good facilitator. Number one, he makes every locker room he goes into better. Number one, because he's just a great guy. But he's such a good facilitator on the court. I think he's going to make Donovan Mitchell. I think he's going to be the key to making Donovan Mitchell an All-NBAer this year.
He's also not going to have to be leaned on his body so hard. I think
That's
in
true.
Memphis he's carrying the weight of the team in the city,
Right.
and here he's getting to play the minutes that he needs to play without just wearing him down through the year. So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to see.
So Jazz up. I think everybody
sure.
can agree with that. What about the Mavs?
Man,
What about
the Mavs are going to be fun, man. You got
man.
you got two guys that are definitely look to be perennial all-stars.
Yeah.
How does
and-
Porzingis recover?
Yeah,
That's the question.
I think he's going to be a full go. I mean, at this point in the NBA, I mean, recovering from that kind of injury, obviously it's not an Achilles. I think he's going to be full go, and I think this is going to be a great scoring team. I mean, great scoring team, hard to play against. I'm excited to see what they look like together.
Dallas was one of my favorite league pass teams last year. Just watching Luka,
You're a full-on Luka fan.
I love watching Luka
Yeah.
play, and so I'll be watching a lot of Dallas this year.
I feel like I'm going to get on a plane or get in a car and go to a Dallas game or two in Dallas this year.
that'd be
I feel
fun.
like
Let's do that.
Fun
Let's
I
place.
make
feel
that
like
happen.
we have to maybe have some broadcasts from there.
That sounds fun.
Just because, like I said, I feel like this is a team that is just going to be a blast to go watch.
No doubt.
And that's a big part of it.
It's like
for
going
me.
to watch NBA Europe.
No, absolutely right. I mean, it's huge. Nuggets Heat. What do you guys think about that? Nuggets, Miami,
Man,
Denver,
I mean,
Miami. What do you think?
the Nuggets were so good last year, and guys, is Michael Porter Jr.
Do
going to
you
be?
believe in
step?
Porter Jr.? Right.
That's the question.
Right.
Like, does he take the step to make them literally a title contender? Because they were that good last year. They
Yeah.
were knocking on the door. He could be the piece.
Guys made of glass, but man, he really would improve the team.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
true. And we get into a couple teams that have really taken steps down. Wizards, Thunder.
I don't know if there is a worse, at least shape wise, than the Wizards right now.
Oh, they're in a bad spot.
They're in a real
that
bad
John
spot.
Wall contract.
I think a lot of it
what an
was,
albatross.
I think they insured it. Thank God. I think insurance, but you can't get rid of it. You can't play him to try to get rid of it, to justify getting rid of it. And you're worried. You've tried and made a premium on bringing Bradley Beal back. And Bradley Beal is a great guy. He seems like he does a lot in the community. He's very charitable, and they love him in Washington. But he's not signing. I mean,
And we've been trying to figure out what's the move for them. Like, it almost makes sense. Like, you have to send them out as a package, and who's going to take the two of them?
Well,
like,
it's going to be.
I don't see how that's going to make any sense for any team. in the
Right.
league.
Someone's going to have to explain to me how they would get rid of the Wall contract. If they can do that, all power to them. But with
Seriously.
Beal, you can't run into the same situation that Charlotte did with Kemba. If he's going to go and you're not coming to a deal before the deadline, you got to get something for him. You've got to flip it, and you've got to move on. And the precedence is right now you can get 6 or 7 picks for that. So look, you can't just let them go.
Yeah.
And I know it's painful, but if it's going to get to the point where it doesn't look like he's signing, you got to trade him, and you got to get what you can.
And then on top of the Wizards, you got Oklahoma City. Man, that's going to be
Rough.
an interesting team this year because they've just shipped everyone out. You got Chris Paul there. I mean, I guess he's going to play. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Seemingly he's going to play.
You've got some other pieces, but man, they're going to.
Shea.
I'm not sure how you're going to fill that arena, which is typically a pretty rocking arena. I'm not sure how we're going to do it this year.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. So, real rapid fire here with our next set of things. This is where we're going to get into preseason awards predictions, like who's going to win the big awards. And I just want to go. I'm going to name, the award, and let's go around very quickly. Pick who you think has a good shot at this. So, first thing we're going to do is who do you think is winning the MVP this year? Nick, give us a start. MVP.
It's close between two, but I'm going to go to Anthony Davis. And I know that's crazy, but
good one.
Anthony Davis is in a prime position to where he is going to be carrying the load for that team. And he's going to have LeBron, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be carrying the load. He's got a chance to put up 28 and 12 every single night. He's healthy. God knows he's rested. I think AD in LA has a very good chance to win the MVP.
You said it's
this year.
between two. I'm interested. Who's the other one?
It's Curry.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
That's mine. You stepped on it.
Yeah.
So-
Steph Curry, I think, speaking of carrying the load, no
Yep.
more Durant.
I mean, come on.
Steph's going to dominate the ball.
Yep.
He's going to get, obviously, D'Angelo involved. And Draymond's still there. There's no Clay. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Steph, but at the same time, we've seen him come through before. I think we're going to see it this year. I like Steph as MVP.
I don't know if he's handicapped too much to have a chance, but I think it's LeBron. I think if AD, I think if AD and him work, I think LeBron gets more of the credit than AD, and I also think it lifts his game in all the aspects.
Would that be the oldest MVP of all time? Probably.
I
think it would be.
That's crazy, but
yeah,
it's a good point.
Isn't it weird that when LeBron was 18 that he looked 35, and when he's 35 he looked 20? Man, LeBron. I mean, if he'd shave his
Hair
head,
club for men, buddy.
Yeah.
Once again, something that probably is in the back of his mind that there's never
it's
been
on the
anybody that old.
forefront of his
Oh,
head.
there it is.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
Wait, so no one said Giannis is going to repeat? I'm interested about that. No one thinks he comes back.
I think he's going to be extremely dynamic this year. I think that the fact that he took it home last year, I think there's a lot of people gunning for it. I think that what's happening in this offseason.
Some people were pissed about him taking it home last year.
I think he totally
They
deserved
thought
it.
Harden was the move.
I don't think so at all. I fully agree with Giannis, but I think right now there are so many people that were upset that actually are players that they have stepped up their offseason. I'm going to go with you guys on this. I think the person that I am rooting for is Steph.
Yeah.
Steph Curry. This guy has, I mean, how do you say someone that's won this many championships, we want him to do something good and big this year, but like the storyline and what I feel is somewhat the disrespect towards him over the last little bit.
It
really
fair.
it feels like disrespect. I agree.
It absolutely is.
And I feel like there's nothing more than I want to see this guy step into legendary status this year. And I think with what's actually happening and all the craziness, if he does, I mean, he reaches another level. And I know watching, there was a great special that was just out on him. Watching that special, and I was just like, that's his mindset. That's what he wants to go out and prove. And so I think it's going to be
shout out to our boy Barrett, who was at a wedding with him last night.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Nice.
That's so cool.
So, Rookie of the Year. Who do you guys got for Rookie of the Year this year?
And my homer says Ja. I think he's going to play so much, and he's going to be such an important piece.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have the most opportunity, and I think his game fits perfectly with the team and the direction of where they're going. So, I mean, there's other guys that I think will be impactful. There'll be people that will be great NBA players down the road. We're going to see that from a Zion, from an RJ, but I think Ja's the man.
I couldn't agree more, and you said the right word for me. It's opportunity. Zion's going to be under such a microscope. So is RJ in New York.
Right.
I think Ja's in a spot that makes so much sense. He's going to have to facilitate for Triple J and the rest of that team, and he's going to have the opportunity to do it in a small market, in a team that's not really being noticed. I think he's going to get lots of chances.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of figuring out which one's going to be more consistent. I think Zion has a better chance to be more consistent. He's in a little bit of he's got probably a better team around him, honestly. And look, if he comes out and he puts up 20 and 10 his first year, and he plays every game or close to every game, I think he's got a really good shot because I think his team has a chance to be better than the Grizz.
That's true.
But again, I kind of agree with you guys too. Ja has the potential to really pad stats because nobody else besides Tyus off the bench is going to be getting those kind of assist numbers, and Ja can put up 20.
I love it. We all love Ja.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Porter Jr.'s in this mix though, right?
Oh, that's right.
That's a really good point.
Good point.
He didn't play any last year.
It's just so hard to tell with it. Look, I think he was the number 14 pick a couple of years ago, and,
That's right.
and traditionally we've had some really good guys go around 14 and 15, including the most recent NBA champion, Kawhi Leonard. But I know the talent is there, but I mean, he even played college ball at Mizzou and got hurt at Mizzou. We hear about his talent, we hear about the intangibles, but the guy's got to play at some point. But his odds, his Vegas odds, he's like fifth of getting Rookie of the Year.
That's pretty good money.
And so it's certainly something to keep an eye on.
I think that you're going to see this the first probably 10 to 20 games of the season of what Ja's going to do in terms of his intensity. If he comes out intense and he's pulling off some of the dunks and some of the things that he did, and if he's allowed to come do that.
Highlight reel.
And the momentum that he can build in the first 10, 20 games and what will happen with these young guys around him too, it could get really interesting.
It's going to be a fun year at the Grindhouse.
Yeah, I think so too. But also Zion, potential to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
So let's move on. First team NBA, first team AllNBA. What do we got? And I just kind of want to really quickly jump through this. Marshall, forwards. Who do you think forwards we have on the list that possibly can hit this?
Yeah, this one was pretty easy for me. The two forwards, I mean, obviously you're going Giannis. And then my other one was Kawhi Leonard. I think, obviously, he's in a perfect spot in L.A. He's coming off probably maybe the best postseason, one of the best postseasons we've ever seen. I think he's going to follow that up in L.A. I think those are my two forwards, Giannis and Kawhi.
I had a lot of problem with the forwards because when we're looking at it, I certainly think Giannis is there, but picking the next one's tough because I don't think LeBron, George, or Kawhi are going to play that full a slate. And so I actually lean more towards Blake Griffin because Blake is having he had a very good year. I know he had a very good year in Detroit. If Detroit can get better, I think there's a chance. But if not, and the Lakers are successful, even with 65 games, I would say LeBron and Giannis.
Wow, those are mine. I got the same. I like LeBron. I think
you're on the LeBron train this year. You think LeBron's playing?
I think
he's
everyone's
healthy,
sleeping on him. It kind of goes back to like, why is he not winning more awards when we still think he's one of the greatest players in the game? So,
real quick, staying with you, Joe. Who do you think we got guards?
Guards wise, I'm going with the scoring machines up here with Harden and Steph. I mean, they just do too much with the ball in their hands to not lead in all the statistical categories.
Yep, same two for me. Harden and Steph.
Steph and Kyrie, I hate it. I feel like Harden's going to be off the floor a little bit more, and I think actually Kyrie may actually play a full season. And if he does, he's one of the most talented players in the game.
Yes.
So that's where I'm going with.
All right, getting into bigs. What do you think?
I took Embiid. I think Embiid takes that next step. I think Horford coming on board takes some pressure off him down low, and he gets to kind of do even more of his game, which is, I mean, he can literally dominate a game. On all aspects. I think Embiid's the number one.
I love this list. I think Gobert's really going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year again, but I don't think offensively there. I'm going to go with AD. Even though he fancies himself a forward, I'm going to go with AD.
Well, yeah, if you take him as MVP, he's got to be first team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for.
I like Embiid. I think Embiid's been held back because of his injury. Literally playing time.
He looks like he's in good shape. The Instagram looks good.
Man,
looks like he's done some sit-ups.
He's phenomenal though. I love his.
He's an amazing
trash
player.
talk on the gram as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So who gets in the playoffs? We'll start with the East. Let's pick them down the road. From the East, each of you have to pick a team or two. Who are you picking to get in?
Well, I mean, obviously, you got your. To me, Milwaukee's coming back. They're going to be back at the top. The one I think sneaks in this year. That's not so. You had the top 8 last year. The one I think, and I actually think the top 7 are coming back to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I inserted a new one. I think Miami gets in this year.
That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
I think Jimmy Butler pushes that team a little bit further, and they were right on the verge last year. I think he's the piece that kind of pushes them over. I think Miami gets in this year.
Well,
yeah. The key with the East is there's not a whole lot of change up that you get excited about. When I'm running down through the list, I think Indiana's the team that could jump higher in that list.
Yeah.
They pick up Malcolm Brogdon and took him from Milwaukee, so I think that's a team that was already really solid that could be a lot better. But
my sneak in is Atlanta. I hate to say it, but my sneak in for the 8 seed.
I so want Atlanta to do well.
Yeah.
They're doing it right.
They were eating it the last.
Doing it right.
They were eating it the last little bit. I feel like to get here.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's possible. So for the West, what do we got here in the West?
Absolute juggernaut Royal Rumble.
I mean,
it's terrible.
We talked about the top 6. I think we probably all agree with Golden State, Denver, Houston, Utah, the Clippers, the Lakers. I think we all feel pretty good about that. The one I think sneaks in this year, I think Dallas.
Yes.
Love it.
I think Dallas gets in behind Porzingis and Luka. I think they're going to make the push maybe for that 8 spot, which of course they're going to immediately be knocked out by someone, but at least they get in.
Agree with all those. I think my 8 seed is going to be Sacramento. I think they get there with Luke this
Sacramento
year.
Makes the push.
And it's tough to put that together with them versus Dallas of sneaking in on that last seed. I think it's going to be Sacktown.
Nice.
Yeah, those are both great picks. I can't pick anyone that I think could slide in other than those two. I think it's going to be Dallas myself, but I don't see anyone else.
No one would be more thrilled if New Orleans snuck in, by the way. I'm just saying, if that were to happen, I am really excited to watch that
That'd
team.
be so good.
Yeah.
All right, quickly around the horn, two quicks for each of these. Conference finals predictions, East, West. East, Nick, who do you have for playing each other in the East Conference Finals?
Giannis, I love you. I'm going to go Philly and Boston.
Okay.
Ooh.
What do you think about the West?
I am going to go, actually, I'm going to go, I hate to do it. I'm going Clippers and I'm going Golden State, baby. Okay. Sorry, LeBron.
Oh, nice.
Marshall?
All right, we got a couple similar ones. I got Philly, and I got them playing Milwaukee.
Okay.
Giannis is getting back there. And then I got the Clippers playing the Nuggets.
Oh,
I think the Nuggets are getting there, guys.
Interesting.
They're doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So what do you think?
Yeah, I like Philly a lot. I don't know that I like Boston to get there, but I can't see someone else that's going to beat them. That's the sad thing.
Right.
I'm like, Boston's still too young, but I think that's a really good matchup. I'd like to see that. So I'm going to go with Philly and Boston, and then I'd really like to see the Golden State stay there with the Clippers as well.
Yeah,
I think that if Golden State's healthy with Clay by the end of the year, I mean,
it's not like these guys have forgotten how to win. And at that point, is Clay going to be back? Do they want to bring Clay back? I don't know, but I love love the position that Golden
Everyone's
State's in this
writing
year.
them off.
I'm telling you right now, Clay is going to play. I don't know how soon he'll be 100%. Clay's going to play a lot of the end of the season. He's going to be ready by playoff time. So I feel like that team, with the chip on their shoulder and knowing what talent they have, they're good enough to win it all.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question. 2019-2020 NBA champion. Who do you got around the room? Joe, where you at? It's tough.
Yeah, I'm going with the Clippers. I think they're just too good, two-way player, championship caliber players. I think they do it.
Right.
I agree. I'm going Clippers too. They barely get by Philly. I see Philly taking that next step. They're getting right there, but they're not quite going to be able to beat the Clippers.
Right. Nick?
I'm going Philly.
Oh,
Philly.
you're doing
I'm
it.
Say Philly.
You're pushing them over.
The only reason I say that is, look, I know they lost JJ.
That's what worries me the most.
And I agree. But the way that they lost to Toronto last year, I mean, look, it looked like they were going to lose that game anyway. They probably would have lost it in OT, but to lose in a last-second shot with Kawhi.
Over your
and they
center.
were all ready. And Embiid was not in good shape. I think he's learned his lesson. And I think Embiid in good shape is top 3 player in the NBA. I think he has that potential. So I'm putting my neck out. I'm going to go Philly.
I'm going to go and say it. Golden State. That's
you're doing
I
it.
want to see
I
it.
like that.
I want to see it.
I have
Man,
Philly.
I'd love to
I have
see
Philly
that.
playing Golden State. So.
Yeah, and
I'd love to see
I think
that.
that would be absolutely huge. So that's our predictions. What are your predictions for this season? Tell us at upshotpodcast.com. And remember, you can grab show notes and links from this show there anytime, too. Subscribe to the Upshot Podcast and make sure to leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed our predictions for the upcoming season, and we will see you next week.
You've been listening to the Upshot NBA podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to click the subscribe button so you can get a new Upshot episode every week. And make sure to leave us a review on your podcast app as soon as you're done listening.